Good evening, everyone, and welcome to day 504 of our continuing updates, coverage, support, love, care for Ukraine, and all the things that are good in the world. Thank you for being here. Thank you for continuing to like, support, share, comment, give, do everything to assist us in our labors and your labors if you're a part of this team. Tonight, huge update in regard to NATO, in regard to the summit. We're also going to look at the front lines right when we get going. Ukraine has liberated some more territory. And tonight, you're going to hear two truth bombs, one by Goncharenko and another from a lady from Kiev who was at the NATO summit in Vilnius. Folks, the best comments I've ever heard in regard to the war in Ukraine on a public stage of that level. So thank you for being here. Let's jump right to it. I'm going to pull the man in. He is here tonight, and there he is. Good morning to you, sir. How are you?
Good evening to
You're looking
all
good.
the friends.
You're looking
Thank
good.
you.
Big day today, and I think what we'll do, we'll begin here. Of course, this is the beautiful land of Ukraine, and before we start talking about NATO, it is a fact Ukraine has liberated about 250 square kilometers, so we're taking back territory. Many evaluators of the war are saying that Ukraine is liberated in 5 weeks, as much as Russia took from Ukraine in 6 months. So these are good things. If we come in to the map here, this is up in the north, the far north on the lines up near the Russian border, Ukrainian border. Up here on the Liman front, this is Liman here. Really, Ukraine's pretty quiet here, to be honest. Russia pushing more in this area. But if you come down to this pocket here, this is the Seversk pocket where you have done work. Ukraine making a little push here, but very minimal there. But it's not really the focus. The focus is here. Bakhmut is symbolic to Russia for some reason. They have their name, Artemovsk, but it's Bakhmut, renamed in 2016 by Ukraine. Ukraine controlling the access to the city even more. Very aggressive on the southern side and the northern side here. You know anything else about Bakhmut tonight?
Nothing very special. I know that on the south part there is one more village. They're starting to push more and more, and that's it. Probably not much specific things I'm ready to share.
Okay, but they're pushing.
Real guys.
You may be referring to Kurdyamivka, because it looks like they're pushing right into that. Of course, this is right on the Seversky Donetsk river there. So we'll see. I can tell you also coming down toward Avdiivka, Ukraine liberating territory in the north. And then you have this big encirclement here of the city of Avdiivka, where our friends have personally fought and witnessed the terrible situation there. From Avdiivka, from high positions in the city, you can actually see the Donetsk airport. This is just a suburb city of Donetsk, which is a massive city. And the battle's going on there, Bakhmut being the major push. And then, of course, down here below, Veliki Novosilka on the south. All of this is good. The blue here representing the pushes, the gold representing Russian pushes. However, I will tell you, I'm really liking this map. I've researched these guys more and more, Zhenya, and I think they're spot on. They may even be better than Deep State. This is very, very good. So this is where we're at on the tactical update tonight, day 504. Now let's get to the big news. Here we go. I'm going to just lead you through it, ask you a question, get your responses. This is the picture that was posted of Zielinskis in Vilnius arriving for the cocktail hour or whatever. You see him there in his fatigue greens, standing alone. His wife is over talking, it appears, to the wife of Macron. I do not know that for sure, but it looks like it. may or may not be. The world leaders there. And Zelensky just, I think the best word is frustrated. How are Ukrainians, and we'll look at some details here in a minute, but how are Ukrainians tonight responding to the results of the summit in NATO?
Different people, different opinions. And I think we need to remember about not the small details, and there is a common flow. And I want to stop on this just a couple of seconds. Historically, Ukraine these days getting more help and more attention from all the countries, a lot of countries, than in any other war Ukraine had before. I mean, the West countries are helping Ukraine as a fact a long time, and Ukraine had never in the history so much help from other countries. So this is I'm staying being a positive, and yeah, maybe we would like to get more. We would like to get more real help, like because we fight and it's not easy and it's unfair, and all the promises were made that Ukraine will have some protections before, if nuclear country or any other country, like nuclear country especially, will attack it. But okay, we don't. But we're fighting, and those guys they didn't say that. No, we will not help you.
So the response, if I can interpret your English there, is muted. Thankful for all of the help. It's unprecedented, the amount of help that's coming to Ukraine. But the bottom line is we're still in a war, and probably what unfolded over the last couple of days in the long haul is not that beneficial for the short term. We know, as we've already called it, but today it's made official, the earliest, for example, that F-16s will arrive on Ukrainian territory is March of 2024. We know it. I wish more people listened to us because we would tell them what's going on, but we called that one. Longer range weapons like ATACMS from the U.S. Not coming. Biden's going to think about them. He says Ukraine needs shells more than anything else, but we'll get to all of that. And of course, Ukraine not accepted into NATO. There was no crazy event that unfolded that I'm sure many were hoping for. We're going to get into more of that in just a moment. But before we do, I want to give some reality to the world. And this is it. This is President Zelensky there in Vilnius, and that's his wife with him attending the meetings there. She's wearing a shirt that's made in Ukraine. The cost of it is not 9,800 euros or dollars. That's in hryvnia. So you're about a $250 top here, $240. And Ukrainians were very proud of her. That company is building or making products to support the war in Ukraine. She's wearing that, and she's not wearing a $10,000 dress or a $50,000 dress from Rome. So Ukrainians were very proud of their first lady. And I see you on the move.
Yeah, I just want. Here is hello from Ukraine.
Let me turn your volume all the way up. Reality.
Russian drones, Iranian drones, right at this moment, flying toward my direction. I mean,
well,
that region.
We're going off,
and
here you
and
go.
I'm tracking it. I'm
right
tracking
there.
it. Yeah, I'm tracking. I'm checking the news, so I still okay to be online.
Okay.
Don't worry about that.
Well, if you have to,
Just
leave,
wanted to share.
Stay with you. But it's reality. It's the reality, folks. We're streaming almost. It's rare Zhenya's not on here. Look, Rivna just went hot. It was while we were on here. Rivna just went hot. Rivna region. That's what we're dealing with right now. But we'll continue.
Mm-hmm.
Keep me posted, and we'll see if any more alerts come up.
This is why. Sorry,
Yeah.
I want to enter it. I know.
Go.
This is why ATA. These attackums we call this.
Yeah.
ATACMS.
Long range.
We need long range. Why? Because we need to protect. We
Correct.
need not for attacking. We need protect from Russian, especially drones. Is one side. The other side, when especially the Russian fighters and bombers, they launching something. We need protection because with a short range, we cannot stop it. They have enough close. They coming too close, and we have no any fighters in air with the good radars.
Well, I really
If
wish
Russian
right now that Joe Biden and Olaf Scholz were in your apartment with you so they could hear that. They may change their opinion.
Russian Su-35 having much more sensitive radars, and it's uncomparable with the MiG-29 we got from help. Our MiGs are blind, and our Su are blind. So Russian radars can see our fighters, in air, and our guys can see nothing. This is why we asking, please help us to protect our country. And sorry for motion, but this is
Well, we can hear the alarm going off in the background. You guys that are watching, just turn your volume up. You can hear it. So that pushes us to this. What does the world really think about the war in Ukraine? It's come to our understanding. Ben Wallace, the defense secretary, minister there for Great Britain, coming out and saying directly, we're not Amazon, referring to the huge company. UK defense secretary suggests Ukraine could say thank you more. Now, this is a big deal because Zelensky responded to it from the platform at the NATO summit. Now, this just came in, so I didn't have time to voice it over, but I'm going to show you this. Let a few seconds play, and then Zhenya will tell you what he's saying.
Тоді, нехай він напише мені, як потрібно мені подякувати людям, щоб ми повністю були вдячні. А ще можемо зранку просинатися і вдякувати.
So that's enough of it. Listen, just tell folks, why does the president have to stand up at that summit and say, treating him like a lowlife?
He said, probably, in this situation with that critics, probably I need to get a message from him, a letter with the specific things we need to name for our thankfulness will be good enough.
Yeah, Exactly. What else can you do? They are grateful. So, you know what? People are growing tired of this war. Here's what I can personally tell you. 5 months there on the front, every time, 100% of the time, even if I gave a soldier a Snickers bar, bought him a cup of coffee, it was always grateful. Thank you. I won't forget you. Thank you for caring about me. If the soldiers on the front lines are doing that, don't you think that the president and the leadership in Kiev is also doing that? Sure they are. They're grateful. So I don't know where this mess comes from, but it's frustrating to hear that you're not grateful, and for it to be at the level that Zelensky had to stand on the stage. Look at this. He's on the stage, Vilnius. At his time to speak, he's on the stage having to say, sorry, why do you think we're not grateful? Okay, send me a letter. We'll say we're thankful. We are thankful. It's terrible. Terrible. Let's go to Zelensky's official statement. Here's some of his parts. I'll read the statement. I've got them in different colors here, and then you respond. Zelensky's official statement after the NATO meetings are as follows. He says, we understand that partner support depends on situation on the battlefield. You win, you get more, you lose, it's going to be a problem. That's the way it is. Secondly, the support of the partners will not decrease. Such assurances were given by the partners. That is true. Many nations coming out and saying, we will continue. In fact, Germany saying, we're going to send you 2 more Patriots. We're going to send 25 more Leopards. U.S., we're going to send more shells. We're not sending ATACs or ATACMS. F-16s are not coming, but we're going to continue to supply 25 Marauder vehicles coming from Germany. We're thankful. It's going to continue. He said, after the victory, we do not expect surprises. We need to return our people to Ukraine and punish Russia. Victory will not be a frozen conflict. We're not going to accept a frozen conflict as victory. He also said no decision on providing long-range missiles to Ukraine from the U.S. That was reiterated by Joe Biden as he was walking out. I won't even show the video. He's a frustrating person. On the grain agreement, there are no violations on the part of Ukraine, and Russia will do everything to disrupt the humanitarian projects. And then finally, he says, we will never trade territory for status. You were telling me as a part of that thank you, or a different place he was speaking there in Vilnius, he actually told the story if there was a village with one grandpa. What did he say?
Yeah, he said the question of trading territories or negotiation for Ukraine will give any square meters, any one village, even there will be just one citizen, the grandfather living that village. We will never negotiate about any settlement or any piece of the Ukrainian land.
If people are ever doubting if Ukraine is going to give away territory, they're not. They're going to fight for it all. For those of you that are interested, this is the current air alarm that Zhenya is still sitting under, and we'll keep
and
posted.
it says that it's launched. They started from Shaheds, the drones, and now they launched Calibers missiles.
So explain to people what that means. You know already. If I go back to this, all of these regions are potential targets due to the flight patterns and the historical flight lines. They know the stuff's in the air. The even those that are watching from a distance know. So these are the potential targets right now. Shaheeds are moving through slow, and Caliber class missiles are on the way, and they could be coming from Caspian Sea, the Black Sea, airplanes. But you can't have long range missiles to take out the drone station. Just so you know.
No,
it's not possible.
Not just not a Russian airplane.
Correct.
Nothing.
Yeah. It's not possible. Zelensky was referring to Ukrainians will need to come home after the war. Unfortunately, this is a graphic talking about Ukrainians in Germany. It compares August to October of 2022 versus January to March of 23. And the statistics are basically 29% of Ukrainians there plan to stay in Germany forever. 15% plan to stay for years. 31% plan to stay until the war is over. 2%, the maximum 1 year. 23% do not know. The bottom line is Ukraine needs its citizens to come home. You know, Zhenya and I are very direct. I sent him an article the other day, might have been yesterday, that I didn't like. There was a Ukrainian doctor, young fella, 35, 40 years old, living in London, having to be a janitor because his medical license didn't transfer. And just, well, you know, it's sad. He can't work as a doctor. It will take many, many more years for him to receive European certification or British certification as a doctor. And folks, just so you know, I sent that article to Zhenya and I said, you know what? I disagree completely. That man needs to get back to Ukraine and be a medic and be a doctor and serve his country. Don't go to Britain and complain that you have to be a janitor. Go back to Ukraine. And, you know, you're there. I understand it with small children. I understand it. But grown men. Grown men.
Yes, I completely agree with that. Completely agree, and would comment just one comment with the previous chart about people who is like planning to stay. Why? Just a couple words about Ukrainians outside. Our people who are refugees there are not firing their stores, not they are going and working there, paying taxes and learning the languages.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of refugees working and helping economy there, and this is why it's not a big problem there. You will not fight. You will not find like okay, we have hundred thousands and millions in some countries of Ukrainians. And have you heard about like the people fired? I mean, fighting with the police there or firing the stores. Have you ever seen that? No. They're paying taxes and buying apartments, start trying to be useful there. It's a sad for our nation, but it's other side of Ukrainians. If
Yeah,
they go there, they're trying to work there.
we have Ukrainians here, even in my city, due to our connections. And actually, it's not a Ukrainian man; it's a Ukrainian woman or children, her parents. They wouldn't be fighting pretty much on the front lines anyway.
Mhm.
They're not here being bums. They're not living off the system. They're working. They're paying taxes. They're shopping and paying sales tax. They're trying to be a contribution to society and not a weight. So it's just it's it's the war. It's the war, and it's
The war and people experiencing fear.
correct.
If no one knows where to expect the arriving or like attack of the missile. No one wants. That's
Understandable. You know, people tonight, if you're here just jumping in, rewind the stream at the end and go to the beginning. You'll hear the actual error alarms that are happening right now. Zhenya walked over to his window and pointed it out the window for us to hear live right now. And just think, if you had to live under that, yes, it's difficult. Yes. But
Mhm.
Ukraine needs its citizens to pull together the best they can. That's the bottom line. Olaf Scholz, he made this quote today at the NATO summits, NATO summits in Vilnius. Russia does not influence our decisions regarding Ukraine.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, yeah, exactly, Olaf.
No,
We're very appreciative. Germany is loading Ukraine with a lot of equipment. Thank you. But to make that statement, come on, man. We're not born yesterday, especially when your defense minister says this. Defense Minister Boris Pistorius. So we have Ben Wallace and now Boris Pistorius confirmed Germany will not hand over the Taurus missiles to Ukraine, which are longer range. So we do not have the Tauruses, no ATACMS systems. We do have the Storm Shadows. We do have HIMARS. We do have Patriots for the defense. We're thankful for all that. But he also stated, stop the criticism of Germany, since Germany, along with the U.S., provides the most aid to Ukraine. And honestly, can't disagree with him. We do.
Yeah.
The U.S. and Germany does, and we're thankful for it. But read between the lines a little bit, folks. The pressure is building. The pressure is building. Russia doesn't influence our decisions. Right. Right. If Russia doesn't influence your decisions, then your decisions would be different than the ones you're making right now. Now, with that said, here's Peter Pavel. We're going to give this man the award for the NATO summit. This is the president of Czechoslovakia. Folks, maybe you didn't know this, but he was the former general or one of the key general leaders for NATO. He is a high-ranking military supposed. I researched him some more because I really like him. Brilliant tactician, brilliant man. He came out today and in support of Ukraine says, listen, you're not coming in NATO. It's not going to happen. We're going to support you the best we can. But he says, I'm telling you, you have a year. You have a year to get this war in the position you want it because, and this was his reason, and I'm basically quoting it, come 2024, the world is going to change. And I project that the support for Ukraine will slow down and not be at the limit or the rate it is now. The United States will have a major election, and if it goes a certain direction, you're not getting any aid. Other nations in Europe having key elections in 2024, depending on how they go, aid could be stopped. So very interesting. And Peter Pavel there. Now, that pushes me to this lady.
But he's the president of Czech.
Oh, he's the president of Czechoslovakia.
No, not Slovakia.
Czechoslovakia.
Just Czech Republic.
Oh, Czech Republic. Well,
because Slovak people will say, hey, we have own president.
Oh, well, I ain't worried about them. God bless Slovakia, but over here it's Czechoslovakia.
Yeah, sorry.
We grew up on MacGyver in the A-Team. It's Czechoslovakia. All right, Czech Republic. Okay. Forgive me, Peter Pavel. Forgive me, Peter Pavel, and the dear people of Czech Republic. God bless you. To all our wonderful Slovakian friends, we appreciate you as well. But we grew up here, burned in our brains for Czechoslovakia. So, Czech Republic. Thank you, Jacob. Now, here's the next thing about this NATO summit. There was question and answer time where Jake Sullivan was on a stage and being asked questions and asked to give comments. And listen, I don't even know who this lady is. She must be in the government somewhere from Kiev, but she is a Ukrainian. She's from Kiev, and she has children, and she has the opportunity to ask Jake Sullivan a question, who is the United States National Security Advisor. Now, I know when we were talking before going on the stream tonight, you said you have not seen this video.
No.
Okay.
Still want to see.
Here you go. Here it comes. You're going to hear it for the first time with everybody else, most likely. Here it is. So after Peter Pavel giving all of his great statements, here comes the time. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan and this lady from Kiev asking these questions.
I have a 2-year son. He was 2 years when Russia invaded Ukraine first in 2014. We were told then, guys, not ask for weapons, negotiate with terrorists and do reforms. We behaved well. We've done reforms. We've negotiated Minsk. We didn't ask hard weapons. And Russia invaded us with a genocidal war. And now the NATO summit is telling us, wait for more. And, you know, when I was leaving Kiev and my son is now sleeping in the corridor because of the air raids, I had to explain my son that, you know, I'm going in order to meet President Biden and to ask him to invite Ukraine to NATO, that soon you will not need to sleep in the corridor. On Friday, I will be back in Kiev. Jake, please advise me, what should I tell my son? That President Biden and NATO didn't invite Ukraine to NATO because he's afraid of Russia losing, afraid of Ukraine winning, or there are back-channel communications with Kremlin, which is a terrorist organization, to reach the Minsk III deal. Should I prepare my son to be a soldier and fight Russians when he will be 18 years and 7 years? Thank you, Jake.
Hold it.
Hold it. Right. Yeah.
What are we waiting for, Minsk 3?
No.
Listen, how brilliant was she? So you're afraid of Putin? And it wasn't about Putin winning. Her statement was, are you afraid of Putin if Ukraine wins? Yeah. But she laid it out there, man. Woo.
Yeah, and she reminded that right at this moment, my relatives in Kiev are more lucky because there I see that they protecting Kiev because Shaheds are there and probably there in the corridor. And Pavel Ivanovich are looking probably worrying as well, and in hearing these air alarms.
Well,
And
you look at that
she
map right
refers
there.
right. What
There's a lot of people in the
should we
corridors.
prepare our sons for fighting with Russia?
She was talking about the Minsk 3 deal. I mean,
Yeah.
okay, it gets better. It gets even better. You say, how can it get better? Because Goncharenko dropped the most powerful statements ever in Vilnius. Here, he's a deputy in the Ukrainian government and brilliant communicator. He is the representative to the European Parliament. He represents Ukraine at a very high level. He speaks high-level English, a little accent, but you guys will understand him clearly. And I'm going to tell you, this may be, in 504 days of streaming, this may be the best video I've ever played, because this man is going to state what we have been trying to share for 504 days. So, folks, this is Goncharenko. So you had the lady from Kiev. I don't even know her name. So, lady from Kiev, God bless you. And here is Goncharenko.
Alexei Goncharenko, member of the Parliament of Ukraine. You said about today we're waiting for the security guarantees, but the problem for Ukraine is that we already had it. It was called Budapest Memorandum, and the United Kingdom was one of the parties of these guarantees. And we now know what had happened. Nuclear Russia attacked our country. So now to fill this security vacuum that we have, it looks like we have just three ways. First of them, to become member of NATO with a nuclear powers in it. Unfortunately, after yesterday's decision, it looks uncertain, and we can't understand when it will happen. Number two, if one of the nuclear powers will deploy nuclear weaponry on our territory, Russia is deploying in Belarus. Why, for example, the United Kingdom or the United States can't deploy it in Ukraine on a bilateral basis? And the third opportunity is to restore our own nuclear arsenal. So what do you think about this? Thank you very much.
I'm telling you, powerful, powerful statement there from Goncharenko. It's what we've been talking about. His first statement, of course, the second and third, talking about the weapons, to stand against what's happening against Ukraine. But the first one, stop talking about security guarantees in the future, because we're hearing that again. We heard it today for the last 24 hours. France, Great Britain, United States, Germany, thanks to you all, we will provide security guarantees. You don't have to, because you already did in the prior Budapest Memorandum. Why do we have to talk about providing security guarantees again? Because we've already got them. And he brought out that great point. What's your thoughts on Goncharenko there?
I'm really thankful that they allowed him to speak. And yes, we had all of it. We already had it in these two interviews. I mean, these two questions. It's straight, but it expresses and shows the position and the question of Ukrainians. I mean, the most of Ukrainians. We heard all of it. We already living from 2014 in the process of protecting and burying our soldiers and protecting our lands. And it's from 2014. We lost some, they occupied Crimea, they occupied Donetsk and Lugansk area, and the world was okay, continue growing with economy, relationship with Russia, selling, buying everything, and now we hear it all. So I'm really I'm happy for the world if the world will hear the truth and the questions.
But one of the things that we probably need even to remind ourselves, when you hear these nations talking about security guarantees, you know, that was years ago. And, you know, I guarantee you President Biden knew nothing about those agreements. I guarantee you. I don't, or he forgot. I'm about done with being politically correct on my own country. It's just ridiculous, the inadequacy in the White House. I'm sure other nations, not even aware, they're clueless about the security guarantees that have already been given. So for some people or people that are younger, they will say, okay, well, this is great. But folks, look at history. It's already been given. There's no reason for it. One of the big nations that playing a vital role in this war is Turkey, the fence sitter in NATO, unblocking Sweden. Of course, they want to get into the EU. That's not going to happen anytime soon. No way. But they're making pushes for that. They returned the Azovstal. There is Prokopenko and Volyn returned them in a act, and he returned because Zelensky asked him when he was meeting with Erdogan, give me my guys back, and he did. So Erdogan comes out today and says, listen, we're friends with Ukraine. We're friends with NATO. We want to join the EU. We're also friends with Russia. Our relationship is not damaged with Russia. We're kind of a middle guy here that hopefully can bring peace to the world, of course. But I want to remind Russia, Turkey did not have an agreement with Russia about the Azovstal fighters. We were just holding them and agreeing to take care of their well-being, their health. The agreement was between Russia and Ukraine. So when the president of Ukraine came to me and says, hey, give me my guys back, I gave them to him. I don't have an agreement with you, Vova. I had no agreement. I was just thinking, okay, this is the right thing to do. Of course, it's the right thing to do. I'm getting ready to go to the NATO summit, and I want to get into the EU. But it was really interesting, and you sent me this little video here.
Yeah.
The bottom line is it's not what everybody thought. There was no agreement between Turkey and Russia. The agreement was between Turkey was Russia and Ukraine. Turkey could do whatever they wanted to do, and they did.
Yes, but Ukraine will not. They're killing our people, and then what we will. I mean, it's a question. It's a big question. Like, what promises we can give? What promises? Like, we will not negotiate it at all. Like,
correct.
It doesn't matter. We will not discuss it.
Question for you as we close out tonight, and I can see you're still under air alarm.
Still in the air. The air defense, and at this moment, American Patriots and NATO, some NATO units with our guys using as air defense systems are working to protect. So it depends on quantity we have, and so we're thankful that there is some units which helping us to protect our lives. Thank you.
Did you say thank you? Wow. Ukrainian saying thank you. What a joke. If you're just jumping in, folks, go back to the beginning. Zelensky had to deal with the thankfulness question. Last thing here. Putin, as I understand, has an arrest warrant out for him as a criminal. And that's why he hasn't traveled to some nations like South Africa for a meeting and others over the past 4 or 5 months. But Peskov coming out, his spokesman, saying that in the next couple of months, Vladimir Putin will be making a trip to visit with Xi. And China will be welcoming him, and they will discuss their agendas. Of course, it's interesting that this is on the heels of the NATO summit in Vilnius. Now, of course, Peskov comes out and says, well, Vladimir Putin will be going to Beijing to see Xi, and as well, North Korea once again repledges their support for Russia and their willingness to assist in any way possible, which is minor, but it's still, you have this axis of Russia, Iran, China, North Korea. It's just the way it is. There are other nations we can throw in there, but we'll leave it there for tonight. The bottom line is NATO happening. Now, Putin, their move, he goes to see China. Logical.
Yeah.
All right,
and
bud.
Thank you to the friends. There are some really good missiles. We started to get it, and they're supplying it already. They did promise, and they fulfill. And those really limited quantity, less than 100, but will help us.
Missiles flying through Vinnytsia, over Vinnytsia, Ternopil, Lviv,
The West Ukraine.
Nikolaev. A lot coming west.
Mm-hmm.
But our guys, also Sumy and Poltava, and air defense working there in Kiev as well. So Ukrainian heroes are doing their jobs, and thankful, as Zhenya said, to America, to Germany, helping supply weapons as well as Great Britain, other nations, France. Thank you. But this is a real picture of what the war is like. And I promise you folks, Ukraine's a thankful nation. So, all right, buddy. No logo on the shirt tonight. No Levi's, no New Balance. You said you were going straight black tonight. I'm going orange today. Support of the Orange Revolution. And I'm just messing. Anyway, it's been a good update. Folks, thank you for being here. Thank you for continuing to like, support, share, comment, giving. We support. Camps are going on. More resources were sent to Ukraine today financially to help. And you guys are a huge part of that. So thank you for continuing to give. We will be here until the end, which it will be victory. And join the Patreon. I'll keep you guys in Patreon updated in a couple of hours if anything crazy happens. So that's pretty big air alarm right there. So we'll see what happens. And we'll be here. All right, buddy. Stay safe. We love you.
Thank you. Bye.
Good night to all.
Thank you from Ukraine.
Thank you from Ukraine. Heart from
To
Ukraine.
all, good night.